Good morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquint, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and our toll-free number, 800-951-0592, the website at allamericangold.com, and welcome to Thursday, the 9th day of December. The Christmas countdown is on, and man, do we got so many things to look at in a world that's gone absolutely nuts. Everyone's lost their mind. The central bankers have lost their minds, right? The people running these left states have lost their mind. I was just reading an article about Massachusetts, which brags a vaccination rate of 72%, and they're talking about how all the hospitals are full, and of course, just said, well, we had to lay off hundreds of people because they refused to get vaccinated. You know, all the just shooting themselves in the head. It just makes no sense to me. You know, all of the frontline workers who last year were heroes apparently now are evildoers, Jason, if you don't get the vax.
Absolutely. And I like the way you started the show saying everybody seems to be losing their minds. Jack, go ahead and play this. We got a little, just 20-second clip. Play that. South Park.
Everyone, can I have your attention, please? We got results from the PNR scan of Dr. McCormick's remains, and we now know the cause of his death. Now, we all need to stay calm. There is no reason to panic. But Kenny died of COVID. It's a new variant, the COVID Delta Plus Rewards Program variant.
There you go, Joe. How was that?
I love it.
Why do you own gold? Yeah, why do you own gold? Because people do that to the slightest of the news.
Exactly right. And you know what? The other thing is they don't want to admit it yet, but they're getting closer and closer and closer. The article, you know, because we don't really get all the facts. By the way, somebody did it in England. Because, you know, you hear, you hear these very general statements like, they're filled up with all the unvaxxed people, right? Because that's what they want you to believe. Someone actually in England went through all the cases over like a 3-week period and found out only a third of the people in the hospitals in England were unvaccinated, and that just as many vaccinated people were in there. But the biggest thing, and I think the most unreported thing, is how many people are in there that have nothing to do with COVID, but heart-related. Heart attacks, strokes, and all these things. It was in the article there in Massachusetts as well. But they're still trying to stick to it. They got really broad. They're like, well, 60 to 75% of the people are unvaccinated. Well. Wait a minute. Don't you know the exact number? I mean, there's no gap here. You know what the number is, and again, I don't believe I don't believe 75. I don't believe 60. But they made a big deal about the quote unquote waning immunity. You know, like again, everybody get a booster. But it's kind of why we made that commemorative coin for the radio station, the Pure Blood commemoratives that we were running yesterday. We're already sold over 30% of what we're going to sell, Jason.
Yeah, we're going to cap it at 500. So we're not going to do the extra couple hundred we were mentioning slightly. We're going to stick to that 500 number. So it's going to be a pure collectible. And yeah, Joe, I mean, these numbers at the hospitals. You know, if you have people quitting because they're pure bloods and they're not going to get the vaccination, and you go from 50 beds to 25 beds, you know, you can't have 50 beds operating if you have nobody to operate those beds. So of course there's going to be a more full hospital when there's less people manning the beds. There's not enough beds, Joe, because there's no nurses there to man them.
And I guess I'm wondering if they've already made it this far. Right, we're almost 2 years in, and they haven't been vaccinated, and they're at these. Let's face it. Where is the most dangerous place to work in regards to COVID? has to be the hospital. Right. They go this far, really? But no. Now we're drawing the line in the sand. It makes no sense. It really doesn't.
Because besides COVID, who knows what else is floating around that place, obviously.
Right, everything else. 800-951-0592. It was like, who's that comedian you always play? Your immune system needs practice.
George Carlin.
Right? George Carlin, right? And obviously these frontline, their immune systems, they get lots of practice. So,
absolutely.
I don't know. Call me nuts. Listen, when we get back, we got a great show lined up for you. We got to talk about jobs, the jobs numbers as far as layoffs and how many people are quitting and all this stuff have come out. We saw a number that we haven't seen in over 50 years as far as people filing for unemployment claims. But another phenomenon that we haven't seen ever is the amount of people quitting jobs, which of course means right now, if you're an employer, it's got to be pretty bad if you're laying off because you don't know what you're going to do. Do I got to enforce a vaccine mandate? Do I not got to enforce a mandate? Everybody's quitting right now. If you're breathing and you show up, you probably got a job, Jason.
As long as you're vaccinated. You can't employ people if they're not going to be vaccinated. There's a lot of these companies.
That's what, again, I think this is why part of the reason we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit of why the layoffs are as low as they are today. It was 184,000. By the way, that's the lowest since 1969. Dan, you don't lay off vaccinated people right now because even if they're terrible, right? I guess if they show up, they show up. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be right back after the break. 800-951-0592. By the way, I got to mention one more week. You got till December 15th for your My Kind CBD products before we get a price increase. We're going to be seeing a price increase on My Kind CBD after the 15th of December. Tahibo Tea, the price increase is going to be on January the 1st, so make sure you get your orders in. By the way, on the CBD, we're raffling off a great basket for the holidays here. When you place your order, if you put the word raffle in the promo code box, not only are you, anyone who orders, you're entered. But if you put the word raffle in the promo code box, you're going to save $5. So make sure you use that. Save the $5. Get your orders in. We'll announce the winner. I want to say that the 15th is a weekend. So the Monday, I want to say on Monday the 16th, I think, something like that. We'll announce the winner on the air, and they'll be getting that CBD basket, Jason, and that thing's loaded. If you go out to 1360 KHNC, hit the shopping cart button, you'll see the basket there as well. And big shout-out to Ramon. I've been meaning to mention it. On our website at allamericangold.com, Ramon handles all the stuff, all the articles, and at the top of the page, we always have that cartoon. And the last few have been so great. This one, it's been up for a few days now. It's the 12 days of Omicron, like the 12 days of Christmas.
Yeah, I saw that.
12 rolls of toilet paper, 11 hand sanitizers, 10 tedious lockdowns, 9 mandatory mandates, 8 various variants, 7 disinfecting wipes, 6 super spreaders, 5 fancy masks, 4 Fauci flip-flops, 3 boxes of tissues, 2 latex gloves, and one of my favorites, the 1 non-contact temperature assessment device. That was pretty good. I like that. Check.
I saw it. It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. He
had some really good ones lately, so check those out. But we were talking about these jobs numbers. So every Thursday we find out how many people got laid off, essentially, filed for unemployment for the first time. Now, the number came in at 184,000. And I was, okay, and I had all my stuff ready because they also track, but they only do it on a monthly basis, how many people are quitting their jobs. In other words, yeah, I quit because, let's face it, this job sucks, and I got another job that's going to pay me more money. For the last 2 months in a row, been over 4 million people quitting jobs. 4.36 million in October, 4.16 million in November, which is way, way, way above what that would normally look like. And again, just a sign of how the Fed has lost this inflation fight here. These people are quitting for a reason. They're getting more money. And everybody else out there that says they need help, like Jolts, who tracks job openings. Hey, there's 11 million people wanting to hire people. Listen, it's simple. And I've been saying it all along. $12 isn't going to get it done. $15 isn't going to get it done, right? You know, it probably right now starts at 20 and goes up from there, Jason, probably 25 to 30. I wouldn't be surprised to see $25 an hour is where it's going to take to get people to work with the way inflation's going. But we got this number today of 184,000 people that, you know, business must be really bad, you know, if you're getting laid off right now, especially with, you know, like New York as an example saying, that's it, we don't care what the court said, you got to get vaccinated or you can't work and all these other things. But then they added to it afterwards. So I saved the story this morning because that number came out at like 6:30 Arizona time. Well, I just went back and I had the article up and I was going to give you the numbers. They added a new sentence in it that wasn't there this morning, which is that was the seasonally adjusted number, which they always seasonally adjusted. The problem was the unseasonally adjusted number, Jason, was 280,000.
Wow.
So, I'm like, how can you seasonally adjust away 100,000 people? That's like, hey, listen, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take a third of them and pretend that they didn't get laid off.
Yeah. And Joe, I'll say something about the minimum wage you're talking about, or the pay raises. You better believe when the big companies do the hey, this is the lowest we're going to pay, it's going to be all over the media. They're going to make sure everyone knows when Walmart goes to a higher number or Amazon goes to a higher dollars per hour. Basically grabbing all those available vaccinated workers that can off the market before anybody else does, right?
Well, yeah, I just, again, I just want everybody to know that, and I got an echo in my ear, guys, if you could fix that for me, but everyone to know, listen, this inflation thing that next week, they got a Fed meeting next week, and we're going to get another policy change from the Federal Reserve. So think about this. The Fed tells us a story that's not true. And like a child, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, right? That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. That's how they like to operate when it comes to the lies that they tell. So they'll keep up with the lie. Remember, one year the lie was there's no inflation. They told that lie for like a whole year. Then the next year, well, the inflation's only transitory. By the way, whatever you guys did, you fixed it. Thank you. It's only transitory. They stuck to that lie for a whole year. So now they're saying, hey, this is going to be so they meet next week, just so everybody knows. This is going to be the fourth time that Jay Powell is going to, and I want to be politically correct here. They're going to call it a major shift in the Fed's policy, which again just means, why are we listening to these people? How many times do they have to be wrong? Essentially what they're saying is Jay Powell's been wrong 4 straight years in a row. Right? At what point do you get fired? And guess what? Hey, we're going to renominate the guy. Right? We're going to, you know what? Good job, Jay. Way to go. You know what? You go ahead and you've been wrong every year. So why not, Jason? You know what? That deserves, you deserve to keep your job. I may have lost Jason. So,
Mike, there we go. Yeah, we're trying to get rid of the echo. My mic was off. That's yeah.
The echo, yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. Hey, the guy's wrong a lot. That's I think what the job is supposed to be is because the Fed, it's a private company. They're supposed to defend their shareholders, Joe. It's a private company, so they're going to be wrong a lot because it enriches those at the Fed. You know, it's just the game they play.
According to CNBC, now listen, they are the Fed cheerleaders. That's their job, right? They come out on TV and say, "Don't worry, oh, it's great." They give you all these ridiculous reasons why the stock market can be so overvalued and try to, oh, don't worry, it's not a bubble. It's different this time. It's always different until it isn't. But here's what they said. They said the Powell Fed has become almost known for its abrupt changes in direction, and it has for the unprecedented levels of stimulus it's provided during the pandemic. So think about it. He's got two titles. One, no one's created more debt than Jay Powell. No one's increased the money supply more than this man. Listen, that just means everything we're facing today, that's on him. You know, and again, not all of that, take gasoline prices. Not all of that is him. A lot of it's him, but a lot of it's the Biden administration. All the, and AOC, the squad, and all of them not funding, oil drilling and all that stuff. Believe me, the prices at the pump are you're going to see a little dip down right, during, Christmas here for your travel time, and it's going right back up. And then it's going to keep going up. You watch.
Yep. In
California,
Joe, it's $5.18 a gallon for premium unleaded already. That's right now.
Where were we yesterday? I was with my wife. Oh, that's right. We had to go pick up her car, and we were driving past where we used to live. And there was this gas station there that used to be close to our house, and if it was like, oh, I didn't fill up where it was cheaper, you'd go to that one because it was close. They were $4.15.
There you go.
$4.15.
What was premium at?
I don't know. They weren't showing. I told you the other day, even at the cheap place, the other day where I filled up, premium was like $4.60.
Yep.
But again, so think about this. He's got two titles. The biggest destroyer of wealth, because that's what inflation is, and the biggest flip-flopper in Fed policy history. So you would think that would get you fired, right? If that didn't get you fired, nothing else will. And it's so amazing. Some moron, and I should have saved it, and I didn't, and now I'm regretting it, wrote an article, just wrote it, that said that the millennials like Jay Powell. I promise you, millennials don't even know who Jay Powell is, okay, number one. But, because, and ready for this, and according to the guy who wrote the article, why millennials like Jay Powell? Because he cares more about them getting jobs than he does about the baby boomers' savings. In other words, yeah, he's such a great guy. Think about what he's trying to say. Hey, these young people love him because he cares about their job. No, he doesn't. Like, it's hilarious that people think the Federal Reserve creates jobs, number one, but neither here nor there. But, hey, you know why they like him? Because anybody who has money saved is taking it in the backside because of inflation. That's what this guy wrote. I can't make that up. This is your article that says, yes, you know what? They love Jay Powell. They love him so much because he's screwing their parents and their grandparents. Jason, I don't even. What do you say to that?
Well, I've been railing against it on the air for less than 4 years, and I've known about it for longer. And it's the most evil institution that could be put upon a country, which is a central bank that is a massive leech sucking the blood out of the citizens. It's been doing it since 1913. This one has.
Well, you know what's so funny is all of these central banks ultimately end up leading their currency to zero. And again, I say this, a lot of people used to, Joe just wants to scare people. You know what? I don't get that very much anymore. Because people are starting to realize, holy crap, right? Hey, all the things he says, it's like I'm just telling you what's going to happen ahead of time. Of course, the Fed, they're so far ahead of me. It's ridiculous. You have no idea what's coming next year. I know all of you are paying attention out there. And you're all, scared because you can't believe what's happening to this country right now. Wait till next year. Wait till you see what happens with inflation next year. Patriot Radio News Hour. I hope you're prepared.
Yes, ma'am, by God be darned.
800-951-0592. So we're talking about next year. Here's what's going to happen. Right? We're going to find out here when the inflation data comes out that it's even worse again. We're going to hear from the Fed next week, and they're going to announce they're going to speed up the taper. Right, and the taper, instead of ending in now think about this. This is the big fight. Okay, so we haven't seen inflation this bad, right, since the 70s, and here's what he's prepared to do. Hey, you know what? I'm gonna buy less bonds instead of us ending taper in June. We're gonna end it in April, right? Oh boy, wow. Man, calm down. I mean, what? That's just crazy talk. Why so aggressive, right? Of course, obviously, that's not aggressive at all. I mean, that's asinine policy, right? What he should be announcing, really, truthfully, is taper's over, starting right now. And by the way, we may have an emergency meeting. Let's get through Christmas. Right at the beginning of the year, we're probably going to raise interest rates, I don't know, by a full point. I mean, that should just be the start. That's not what they're going to do. Now, the question remains, right? What are they going to do when taper is over? Right? And right now, Wall Street wants to believe, Jason, he's only going to be able to do it a couple of times because by then Wall Street's going to start crashing and he's going to have to reverse again. I agree.
I actually agree with that, Joe. I did February, March. That's when the taper could end if they double it. They might triple it by early next year. You never know. But I agree with that. I think things start to go really in the wrong direction and then the taper's over with.
I 1,000% agree. That is they're exactly right. And this is why you need to start being really concerned about all that money in the bank, because there's only two choices here. Fight inflation, which, again, they are not interested in. We've said this here over and over. I mean, I just proved it to you right now. I mean, let's face, I don't care. Use any number you want. Use their ridiculous numbers that don't even track inflation. I don't know what it actually tracks. Some mythical unicorn. Even their numbers. Well, it's the worst inflation in 30 to 40 years.
Yep.
Right? And again, guess what? I already know the next number is even worse than that. I already know. And yet, they haven't started fighting it at all. Ending taper doesn't fight inflation. Speeding it up doesn't fight inflation. There's only one thing that does, and that's raising interest rates. Now, I know, listen, I'm not a smart man. Right? Old Forrest Gump here. But the last time inflation was this bad, interest rates hit 20%.
Yep.
Now, that's not mathematically possible anymore because that was the Federal Reserve. The debt wasn't even $1 trillion. Right? So you could afford a little interest, if you will. But we're going to be talking about a situation where all of a sudden Wall Street starts crashing. Inflation is going to, it's going to be cooking.
Yep.
Forget about 2%. I've got a feeling, this is my feeling, they're going to try to convince us that 4% is going to be okay. And I don't even think we can get there. But neither here nor there. I think Jason's right. I think they backpedal. I think gold and silver explode.
Yep.
And you've got to start getting very, very concerned about the money that's sitting in your bank accounts. Because these banks, listen, they're not going to be able to handle it.
Joe, here's the theory that I think they may be thinking of at the Fed, of buying themselves more time. In theory, this is how you could get it to kick the can down the road. Let's say 5 more years. You let inflation just go like crazy to where you have a gallon of gas that's $8 or $9 a gallon. So, that'll give your inflation into a massive overdrive. The idea is that the taxes go up on everything because the price of everything's gone up. So the taxes go up. So you milk the middle and the business class down to nothing to buy yourself, let's just say, about 5 years, because those that are working hard to pay the bills will continue to pay all this stuff, and you're just going to take it from the middle class and the business class that's left, and it's just going to be, this is where we get to the dark ages. You have a peasant class and you have a lord class, and nothing in the middle. So I think that might be their goal, Joe. They maybe can, in their idea of we can collect enough taxes off the middle class and the business class by letting inflation go crazy. We'll have interest rates at 0 or 1, maybe 2, but they're not going to push the interest rates, Joe. They ain't going to do it. It's just not going to happen. I think they're going to try to buy themselves a couple of years by inflating the middle class out of existence.
Let me tell you what part of the issue is going to be here. Let me give you another example. Let's talk about rent, which we know the Fed doesn't actually track, even though they say they do. I want you guys to understand how tight everything really is. Apartment occupancy rates are at 97.5%. That's unheard of. They're jam-packed. They said the annual increase in asking rents for new move-in leases up 14%. And again, the number tells you it's not going down anytime soon. They're saying that occupancy rates are getting tighter. It's not getting better. It's actually getting worse, and that rents are going to continue to skyrocket. Now, for those of you on fixed income, I've got bad news for you. They're looking at making another change to Social Security payments, and specifically COLA payments. That is your cost of living adjustment. That is the one that just skyrocketed, right, because of the inflation, and it's not going to be good for you seniors out there. This is another way, this is just another one of these tricks by the government. I run that commercial all the time. Remember, the government's actually under no obligation to pay us anything when it comes to Social Security. We'll talk about that next. All-time high occupancy rates and rents. By the way, we'll get back to the goals in a minute. I forgot to tell you. All of us here in Arizona, don't worry. Rents aren't up for new leases 14%. They're actually up 28%. Yeah, depending on where you live, right? So it only is, and again, in the places nobody wants to live, maybe the rents have gone down. Most places, Jason, rents are up 20% plus, which we know is the largest piece of people's income. But how about Social Security? So on 1360, we run a commercial. We've been running it for several years now, where I tell you, listen, the Supreme Court's already ruled on Social Security. It's a tax, period. In other words, in the eyes of the courts, the government doesn't have to pay you a thing, which is why they can do things like what I'm going to tell you today. So right now, the government makes a cost of living adjustment based on what they call the CPI-W. Which just tells you, well, let's see, there's A, B, C, D, E, F, right? So they track inflation so many ways because they want it to be complicated, because they don't actually want to track inflation at all. Now, one of those letters is the actual number. They'll never tell us that. But that is the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers. I'm not kidding, not making that up. That's what it is. And for some reason, that's the number they used. And, of course, can you imagine what the reason was? Oh, it was probably a lower number. Well, apparently, that number's too high. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, who tracks it, in October, that number hit 6.9%. The Fed's never admitted to any inflation that high. Matter of fact, this month for November, it's going to be even higher. So that number is going to be well into the sevens. The cost of living adjustments is always based on the third quarter average, just so everybody knows. The Fed always takes the third quarter average for the cost of living adjustment. So to give you an idea, they gave you 5.9% this year. So think about that. The third quarter, July, August, September, 1 month later, they're saying that inflation's up another full percent. Right? So they're already screwing you even more already. And by the way, this one, when the number comes out, going to be even higher than that. But now they're saying, you know what, man, that's not a good number. That's no good. They've got a new one that they want to use. It's called the CPIE, which is CPI for elderly. Okay? And they track this. This is what they're saying is designed. They designed this, CPIE, to reflect the purchasing habits of people 62 years and older. In ways of the items in the baskets are adjusted to reflect the typical purchasing habits of old people. Now, they say that the differences are that in the CPIE, they're saying that shelter counts more, which is kind of funny because that's one of the numbers they cheat on the most. They give you medical. That also weighs more, right? But, of course, again, that number heavily manipulated. Some of the things that they say cost less for if you're 62 or older. Food at home apparently costs less if you're older. I don't know how, but it does. Apparel, Jason, costs less. I didn't know this. I did not know that apparently you pay less money for a pair of underpants if you're 62 or older. I did not know this. But apparently, I mean, it's right here, so it must be true. Do you know that you pay less for motor fuel? Now, I get it. You may drive less. But a gallon of gas is still $1.50 more than it was a year ago. But apparently, and you pay a lot less. 1.7% less. Oh, guess what? Guess what else, old people? And I say old people as I'm only 11 years away from being one of you. So, and I feel like I'm that old already. Apparently, we pay older people pay less for new and used vehicles as well. Almost 2% less. How do they come up with what are they talking about?
Yeah, I didn't know that granny panties cost less than a jockstrap.
Yeah, I didn't know either. Oh, and by the way, education and communication services, whatever that means. Apparently, you pay less for that too if you're older. I did not know.
I'm guessing.
I forgot when I drove past the gas station today. It had the younger people price and the older people price.
My guess is, Joe,
by the way,
it's just a volume. They're going by volume. Is that what they're doing? You know, like you said, they drive less. It's got to be volume.
I guess. But when you're on a fixed income, that's what. So here's the bad part for you older folks. Now, I'm going to give you a guess. Do you think by switching from CPIW to CPIE that your COLA payment would be higher or lower?
That'd be lower, Joe.
It's lower. It's lower, baby. Lower by, instead of 5.9, you'd have only gotten 4.8. Yeah. Well, listen, I'm telling you, Social Security's broke. They can't even afford the 4.8. Patriot Radio News Hour got a great special, super limited when we get back. Everything's down today. The Dow, the S&P, the Nasdaq's down 120 more points. The Nasdaq's been really struggling. Gold's off 1775. Silver, I don't mean to laugh. Silver's at $22. Sure, okay.
That's ridiculous.
I'm not even going to comment on it because I don't know where these people live. So anyway, I've got 19. This is going to be something where the 8 most popular, prevalent, whatever word you want to use, pre-1933 gold coins altogether. So this package, you're going to get the $20 Liberty, the $10 Liberty, the $5 Liberty, the $2.50 Liberty. Now, they do make a $1 Liberty, but it's so small that most people think it's fake and you'll lose it. It's super expensive. But you're going to get the 20, the 10, the 5, and the 2.5. Then you're also going to get, remember Teddy Roosevelt, that coin's not majestic enough. We had a redesign. We got the $20 St. Gaudens. And then the Indians were the fractional coins. So a $20 Saint, a $10 Indian, a $5 Indian, a $2.50 Indian. All 8 coins, and I put them all on sale. $8,600 for all 8. So you're going to get at least one of all the 8 really prevalent pre-1933 gold coins. I mean, there is a $1 coin, and I told you about that. They made a $3 Princess. Those are really rare and pretty expensive. So, but these are what right, Jane, the 8 common ones in this set. And it's $8,600 at 800-951-0592. And here's the thing, though. I've only got 19 sets. That's it.
What's cool is you have one, a good kind of like a typeset of these old gold coins. You're going to have examples of 8 of these coins, that's really pretty cool way to if you ever want to show anybody, well, here's the old gold that I purchased, and here's the denominations. Just kind of a small education for anybody out there that once you buy this set, you could show it off and say, yeah, this is what money used to be, and it's
right.
Pretty cool.
And you know what's funny? 40, 60, 70. This used to be $75. Think about all the way up until 1933. These 8 coins, equated to $75.
$75.
Because of the central bank, they're now $8,600. And unfortunately, Jason, my guess is it's missing a zero when it's over with. We could be talking 86,000 when it's over here. 800-951-0592. The 8-coin pre-1933 gold set. And it's kind of cool, too, especially if you've never bought any before. You get some 1 ounce, you get some half ounce, some quarter ounce, and then the 2.5s, they're more than 1/10 of an ounce, but less than 1/4 of an ounce, or like 0.125 ounces, something like that. So you get all the fractionals that go with it. 800-951-0592. And by the way, the Pure Blood Silver commemoratives, we're now 40% through. Those are still at $75. That's how fast, in less than 2 days, 40% sold. God bless everybody.